let me tell you, I am the eldest daughter. I got 4 younger sisters, and there's no way that you can grow up in a household with 1 bathroom and not know how to build a consensus and not know how to share and not know how to listen and how to respond. And it's that experience that has really helped me throughout my life. Listening and responding. Listening and responding. And those are the 2 key elements to building a consensus. And I'm actually one of the only candidates up here on the stage today that has actually worked in City Hall, who has actually had to listen and had to respond and had to work with colleagues across the aisle that didn't see eye to eye, and some days we still don't see eye to eye. But I would have to agree that it's about relationship building, and it's about taking time to listen to what someone else's perspective is and internalizing it and connecting on that human level. Ultimately, each and every member on the Board of Supervisors wants to have a healthy, safe, and clean San Francisco. Thank you.
So our next question is a 90-second question, and the sequence is as follows. 1, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 4. So the first responder will be Eric Smith, and the question is, how do we improve public transportation in our area?
Thank you, Keith. The hits keep coming. How do we improve public transportation in our community? Well, we first got to start with Muni, and everyone knows the kind of reform it needs. When it takes 45 minutes to get from Visitation Valley to Mission Bay, that's wrong. When the 3rd Street light rail came in, we thought it was going to be some rapid transit thing, and it runs whenever it feels like it. I don't think you have to attack the workers of Muni, but Muni needs some control over it. I don't know if that means the Board of Supervisors. I don't know if it means a charter amendment. It needs help from folks that ride Muni every day, people in the community like yourselves. I think you've got to start there. Muni needs a lot of work. I mean, Lynette will tell you it's night and day compared to BART. But I think it can be the transit-first vehicle we want it to be, but it needs a whole lot of help. So you got to start with that. And some good comprehensive transportation plans for all the development that's going to be going all over the place. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Steve Moss.
So I was talking to one of my neighbors about this issue. She's, I don't know, very old. And she basically told me that the bus doesn't come to her house, which is around the corner from my house on Vermont Street, and she can't go grocery shopping anymore, so she's basically a shut-in. Well, this conversation, I've had this conversation throughout the district. People can't get to where they want to go because they don't have access to public transportation. So, we need to fix Muni, but Muni is synonymous, seemingly, with fixed rail and accordion buses. And there are never going to be enough accordion buses and fixed rail to get to every person who needs access to public transportation. So just like energy, frankly, just like everything, we need to start thinking about diversity in our public transportation system in a much more dramatic way. We need to start recapitalizing the District 10 and the city's public transportation system. So now we're not only relying on a couple of magic capital-intensive bullets. For example, we have our buses, we have UCSF, we have General Hospital shuttling people everywhere they want to go, but nowhere that the public wants to go. Well, why can't we develop a very robust system like they have in many other countries where you have a diversity of transportation options? Whether it's an accordion bus taking you to a shuttle, that's taking you to a shared taxi, that's taking you to a shared bike, or taking you to some other kind of conveyance, or whatever. And that's the only way we're going to be able to get to all the nooks and crannies of our quite hilly and complex district to be able to serve people public transportation in a way that's fully accessible and of high quality. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Lynette Sweet, how do we improve public transportation in our area?
Okay, I'm quiet for a reason. In San Francisco, public transportation equals Muni. I mean, that's just it. Far better political minds than mine have tried to fix Muni, and it hasn't happened. I'm not going to get up here and say that there's some magic bullet that will make Muni do better, run faster, do all those things, because ideally, the only way we're going to fix Muni is to have dedicated transit lanes for our buses. That's the only way. But in order to do that, we impact the cars. They won't have those transit lanes to travel in. So how do we fix it? Well, that's going to be one of those things that goes back and forth because can it really happen? I mean, Muni right now runs at a deficit. So we can't afford to have any more service cuts. We can't afford to do anything else with Muni other than work with what we have. Now, I remember the Willie Brown thing where he said in 100 days he'd be able to fix Muni once he became mayor. He ended up eating those words. I am not about to stand up here and tell you I can fix Muni, because in order to fix it, that dedicated lane would have to happen, and then we'd have the cars and the drivers in here talking to us about why they can't get around the city. But what I can say is that there are certain things in District 10 that we could work on that would make our transportation better, and that is making the T-Third run the right way and on schedule. Political will behind it. Thank you.
Very much. Christina Mia.
Thank you. I think we have an opportunity in this district that no other district has, and that is water transit. We have a lot of waterfront development coming to this district. We need to plan the transit first. We're a transit first city. Make the transportation available so that people form habits that rely on public transportation, and that we don't build a community on the shipyard at the end of the peninsula and expect people to take public transit that doesn't yet exist. And so what are they going to do? They're going to drive their cars and be in the habit of driving cars. So water transit is a huge, huge opportunity for this district. I think we need to have proper funding and proper study for public transportation, and we need to listen to the community. Some of the best ideas about public transportation have come from the community. For example, we had a very difficult transportation challenge on Innis Avenue, the approach to the northern end of the shipyard. The community suggested, why don't we open this Hudson Avenue right-of-way and move the bike lanes over there? We now have a first-class, dedicated bike pedestrian path. This is an idea that not only has city support now, they now claim it as their own. I agree that we could use a wider variety of vehicles. Not every route needs to be a cross-town route. Many of us know who's taken the 19 bus, for example. You know, that goes from end to end in the city. It's not necessary to have every route that serves this neighborhood go all the way to the other side of the city first. And last, we've got to think outside the box. Really think undergrounding.
Lisa Joshua, how would you improve public transportation in our area?
I will begin with not doing anything that's been done before. Public transportation, God, that's been talked about for so many years. Thank you. I think one of the things that would have to really be dealt with aggressively and honestly is the internal budget situation, because Muni is constantly raising fares. That's got to stop. Something much more creative has got to happen. Clearly, there may be some infrastructure issues that have to be dealt with to improve Muni. But and I may be the only person that says this, but living in San Francisco for over 40 years, I actually appreciate our Muni system. And yes, I have lived in other places for a nominal amount of time, and then just looking at documentaries on, how much time do I have, because I've missed that before, and looking at documentaries on what transportation systems look around in the country and around the world. So really, a big piece would be not cutting off the lines that leave people without any accessibility. That has also got to stop. One of the other things I really wanted to get out is, and Christina already said, I think she was looking at my notes, is when people are making public comments, to really listen to that, because what happens is, right, you say, we're going to do this, you already have what you're going to do. And then you tell people make public comments, but you've already decided.
Thank you.